How you doing, family? Welcome to another Bantu-Morpheus movie. We're going to focus our workshop today on economics. But first, I'm going to go ahead and go over the basics of my book, The Anatomy of Existence and the Power of Belief. And what we're going to focus on the latter part of this workshop video is we're going to focus on how to utilize this power of belief. And in order to do that, you have to be well grounded in being self-actualized, which means you are free of the mental terrorism of the religions, all the religions and all the lies and the myths that they have been perpetuating to brainwash you in and terrorizing you into believing their myths, their fairy tales, and ultimately the big lies that everything outside of you is what you need in order to control this existence here. That's the big lie. You are everything you need in order to control everything in this life cycle. Okay, you were born with the ability and the skills to do whatever you need to do in order to get whatever you want. You have the power already within you. There's no outside sources. We're gonna put an end to all that nonsense. Okay. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna start sharing with you, okay, what's going on here with so I'm going to start you off here, family, with the first video we have here, which is my intro video. Welcome to Bantu-Morpheus, and this is my video that I use. I like the lion. I'm a cat lover. I love Africa. I love everything about African liberation. That's what red, black, and green stands for. And that's why this is an image for a t-shirt that I own, that I didn't make it, somebody else created, and I bought one. I love the image, so I use it as a background. Okay, and I want to start out with our own greeting that I'm gonna try to that I am going to use at the beginning of every one of my movies, and that is to greet you with our own African greeting, which is the wish that you would always have life, prosperity, and health. And the Kemetic language, which is an offshoot of our original Ethiopian language, which is an offshoot of our original Twa Umbuti Bantu ancestors, who are also known as the Khoisan people. Okay, and that greeting is Ankh Uja Seneb, which means life, prosperity, and health. Okay, and what we're going to focus on here is life, and I'm going to give you some health tips. I always try to do one of these three in each movie. Okay, and I'm going to start out by emphasizing here what some of the basic foundational wisdom that you have to have in order to understand why we do what we do. Okay, and here Baba Naim Akbar gives us some beautiful words of wisdom, and I want to read this to you briefly. There is no wonder that the ancient African people taught the world and later transmitted by the Greeks and Roman students of Africa that the ultimate instruction for human growth and transformation was man, know thyself. Okay, and that means to understand that you are a infinite spiritual being living and functioning through a human form, having a human experience. Okay, but you know that you are an infinite spiritual being, a micro aspect of the ultimate being that we call Amma. Each generation is responsible for maintaining the level of consciousness, knowledge, okay, attained by the previous generation. That's what I'm doing now. I'm sharing with you the knowledge and the wisdom that has been passed down through our education system, okay? Okay, and for advancing the family and community to even higher levels by the development of their own consciousness. So in other words, you can't be fully human and until your consciousness or you are reunited or awakened or reminded. All of these things mean the same thing. To be awakened or to be reminded, you have to have this happen so that your consciousness and your awareness now can pick up where you left off in your last life. Only now you have different physical human attributes that came with the form that you animated when you transformed into it during your reincarnation process, okay? So every civilized group of people establishes mechanisms by which this process is assured, okay? It's called education. It's called the rites of passage process, okay? And the term that is used to characterize this process is called education. Education is both a sacred human right and a human responsibility, because without it, no one born into the world can become fully human, okay? And that is what the mutated Africans have done. They have taken over the education system and demented it and they've twisted it into a propaganda machine that conditions your mind to be a walking dead person, totally out of control, and giving all of your power and all of your authority and all of your control to a source outside of yourself. And that's part of the brainwashing of the education system that is founded on top of their lying religion that they call Christianity, which is the big ultimate lie. And it is designed to make sure you never have any kind of power or self-control. It is designed to make you a walking dead person, subconsciously worshiping everything white, and creating the lie that some god is some white, demented vampire that crawled out of the caves 20,000 years ago, which went in as an African, but came out as this mutated, twisted, psychopathic, vampirical cannibal and werewolf. And they now have put on themselves after the Greeks and the Italians went in, and the Spaniards, the Moroccans trained the Spanish. The Greeks and the Italians were trained by the Ethiopians, who later on founded Kemet, which they have renamed Egypt. And the reason they did that is because they are empty vessels. They have nothing. They crawled out of the caves with nothing and saw that we had everything. And so we, the Africans who were not forced into the caves for 300 years, we don't know nothing about that kind of barbarism, that kind of greed, that kind of lying, deceit, and demonic mental illness. We have never experienced that because we have always had abundance to the point where we didn't bother to try to take ownership of any land. We leased land, we used land, but we never tried to take ownership of it because the whole earth was given to us, or we were born out of the earth. So why do you have to try to own something that is you? See, that's the spiritual humanity and unity that comes from being an original African. Okay, now they were original Africans, but they got mutated, they got twisted. Okay, and it serves a purpose. It makes us change, and that's what the universal spiritual being always wants. We must change. Okay. So the other thing I want to put in at this point is I want to make a very clear clarification about the intuitive intelligence that dominates the metaphysical world and the spiritual being, the infinite spiritual being that we each are. That intuitive intelligence is an awareness that allows you to be able to have a unique perspective to say that I am here and thoughts are there. The mind is over there. The body is here, but I am within the body. I am the watcher. I am this unique perspective that was created by Amma. So I have the illusion of individuality, not separate from Amma, but I've been given the authority and the gift of uniqueness and the ability to act as a singularity, a micro singularity that has the appearance and the freedom to choose whether to obey or not to obey. That is what it is to be self-actualized, to realize that you have a unique gift that the other animated beings don't have. You can choose not to follow your instinctive intelligence of the physical form vehicle. See, family, that is the central core difference between all other animated beings. That some can build homes, some can build nests on a very minor level, but all of that is instinctive in its nature. See, we as spiritually aware beings, we have a bunch of different powers. We can use thought, we can manipulate thought, we can use the emotions of this physical form to create thoughts, visions, and beliefs. And we can control our beliefs, and because we can choose when and how to control our beliefs. That makes us unique. That makes us a lot like Amma, except we have to repeat where Amma put out one thought and that set all of this order up. And that's it, as far as we know. Okay, so because we have to repeat, that is why we have to control the mind space. We have to make it do what we want, when we want it to be done. And that choice, the ability to choose that, to exercise that authority, is what makes us unique. And that's why we are micro beings, micro gods. Only we can do that. We have the intuitive intelligence that allows us to experience both the now and to visualize a future and to remember our past based on the education and the awakening that must happen to each one of us within each lifetime. Now you are a complete human being, or a complete being inside of a human form. This is one point I tried to get through on the last few videos, and I kept getting distracted and sidetracked. I'm in my human form. I'm doing the best I can with my human form to relay these messages to you. And when you find out whatever your purpose is for this particular life cycle, you may make mistakes here and there, but don't be discouraged. Don't let nobody define how you should deliver your message. You get your message out. You don't pass away without getting your music out. That's your message. That's your purpose. Okay? And I wanted to make that very clear. We are the only awarenesses that have the unique ability to consciously be aware that we can choose what thoughts are going to come through our minds. We can choose to sit back and realize and identify with ourselves as a unique awareness with the perspective of being a whole and complete micro God that has all of the abilities of the macro God or macro ama, okay? Macro structure, macro order, macro force. Okay, we are within that macro force, but we also have these abilities. And this awareness allows us to visualize a future, even though we will always be in the right now. But we can visualize a future that is going to come around and manifest into our current now. We are the only entities that can do that. We are the only entities that can create a complex, comprehensive education system that runs the span of thousands and hundreds of thousands of years in human form time. We are the only entities in existence that has this intuitive intelligence that allows us to realize, okay, that we can choose whether to we can choose to be educated and take the knowledge of our past, process it, and do the analysis and do the comparative analysis and learn and catch up and realize and awaken to what we have done in the past, and then move forward from there and add on to that and get better. Okay? We are the only entities that can do that. That is what it means to be self-actualized, family. That's what it means. And this is so pivotally important. In every video, I'm going to make a concerted effort to make this very clear to you. And this is what makes spiritual beings, those of us that are on a spiritual path, that allows us to realize that we can never die because we have a complete comprehensive understanding based on the science and the metaphysical knowledge of our past and the accomplishments of our micro spiritual beings over millions and hundreds of thousands of incarnations into these human forms. We have all of that memory. We have that library of wisdom that has been accumulated over hundreds and thousands and millions of years of coming into these forms. Because we don't die, we simply transform into the next form. Okay? We will never not be, because we are micro aspects of a macro being we call Ama. Okay? And Ama will always be. Okay? So that clear understanding of our unique perspective that authorizes us and to use our power to visualize a future using the knowledge of our past to improve the quality of our right now. So these are the three, okay, metaphysical perspectives or use of mind, okay, that we can use that makes us unique. No other animal can do that. And that's why we train other animals, because our intuitive intelligence has finally dominated our instinctive intelligence of these human forms, which in and of itself is mindless. It has no ability to choose. It makes choices, but they're haphazard. They're not guided by intelligence. They're just automatic, autopilot, bare bone basic. That's what the instinctive intelligence will get you. And that's why we must dominate and control the instinctive intelligence that all animated beings have. Everybody got an instinctive intelligence. You ain't did nothing slick by having that. Okay? Let's move on. And so we're going to go and we're going to look at this slide here. All right, we're going to, hold on a minute. Let me get this. I want to get this thing blown up all the way. Okay, it's just in case it has not been done properly. Okay, and this is what I'm talking about here, what it means to be self-actualized. All right, and by me merely bringing this topic up, we are making a paradigm shift away from their Bible, the mutated African, the psychopaths, the psychopathic Bible, and their Quran, another psychopathic book that is buried. It has nanites of truth. There is some kernels of truth, but then it's swimming in a sea of toxic lies, myths, half-truths, and bog your mind down. It's a matrix. And by the time you finally figure that out, your whole life is gone. And that's what I don't want. My job is to get you on track and get you up off your knees now. So by giving you the information I just gave you, the most precious gift that any human being can get is to realize what you are, where you are, how we got to be this way, and who you are as a physical form being. Okay, that's what the who of what you will be in every reincarnation. And your mom and your parents or whatever will give it a name, and then you will go by that name, and that name is supposed to actually inspire you to fulfill your purpose. You see all of this structure, family? This is the structural life and living that you're supposed to get every time you reincarnate. But this filthy education system that they have, and that damn Bible, that distraction is a waste of time. And that's what it's designed to do, to bog your mind down and make you waste your time, because they don't even believe in it. And that's how they're gonna play you, because they don't believe it. While you sitting there bogged down, they looking at you laughing. They say, look at these damn fools. They actually believe that con crap that we put down. Wake up, family. That's my job. Make sure you know the truth and understand your power. We are not no victims. We have never been meant to be victims. We are the original people, the people of color on this planet. And even those mutated Africans, they too will go back to black. Oh, that's the color that they designated, but they are going to they're going to go back to African, because that's what they originally were. And so there is no blame, really, okay? Because it's all about a journey. This is why all of this is happening. It's just to stimulate and encourage a journey. So there is no need to hate them for what they have become. They are just, playing their part in this journey for a spiritual being that cannot die. See, once you understand that you cannot die, you can never not be. What Amma created this whole scenario with all of its complexity. And it has to be deep and complex, because Amma is deep and complex. Just like your human form, the systems that run this human form on autopilot under the control of the instinctive intelligence, very complex. You got hundreds of systems, thousands of systems that are working automatic, and you riding around in a vehicle and you are totally clueless and unaware of what's going on. As it should be. You're not supposed to spend your time being concerned with any of that, except to understand that this is the level we've gotten the human form to, so we can get it to comply, so that we can express our infiniteness through it and make it usable and functional. And the moment it stops to be functional, we drop it like it never existed and transform into another one, because the human form is not important to the big picture. It must be valued. It must be treated well. It must be fed well and taken care of well, so that you can get more use out of it and make it as functional as we can get it to be. Okay, but it's not to be trivialized, but it must be trained. It must stay under the control of the intuitive intelligence. That awareness and that knowledge you must have within each reincarnation at some point in your physical development of the human form, hopefully between the first 2 stages of 7-year sections. We have 2 stages. Stage 1 is 0 to birth to 7. Stage 2 is 8 to 14. Stage 3 is 15 to 21. Stage 4 is 22 to 28. Okay, and then stage 5 is 29 to 35, and then there's one more after that I'm adding, which is stage 6, which is and maybe even a stage 7. Okay, we go from 36 to 42, I believe it is. 36, inclusive, 36, 42. Okay, and that gives us, then we go from 43 to 49. And that should be the final stage. Okay, I may have gotten the math a little off. But see, the numbers as far as that's concerned is not important. Is that you understand that there are 6 to 7, anywhere from 5 to 7 stages of physical form development. The first 5 years is purely physical, okay? And the brain has to be developed and mature, okay? Because as the brain matures, the veil of parakeet can be removed and you can more easily comprehend the truth and the realization of what you are. Okay, where we are, who you are in this, only for this lifetime, and how all of this works. See, the last part is so important, is to know how this system works, which mainly comprises understanding why you have to maintain a level of civility, maintaining the spiritual balance of living in harmony with nature and in harmony with other living forms, and following the ground rules of your humanity, which teaches us, thou shalt not, we will not kill unless we have to, in defense of ourselves, and we will not have any guilt after that. You have to learn that your emotions must be kept in check at all times. You must dominate and control your thought flow through your mind space. And had we learned that when we were in the first 2 stages between birth and 15 or 14, we would be well in control of our thought flow right now. But because this jive education system and that jive Bible, we distracted with mythological stories and no true training and specific training. You don't want to be bogged down in trying to figure out mind puzzles from their Bible. You ain't got no time to be figuring out no mind puzzles. You need to be told exactly what your powers are and how they work, and when you can expect them to mature to their fullest capacity. That's what you need to know. You don't need all of this Dow and story of salt and pillars of salt lying about going and taking some land, murdering everybody in sight, and then on the next breath said, thou shalt not kill. Listen, I almost don't want to bring it up. It's a waste of time. Okay, so we're gonna move on. So that's what it means to be self-actualized. Okay, and how to apply it, I already just explained to you. You take this authority and the ability to use your thoughts, visions, and your emotions, and you repeat it over and over and over again, and you dominate and control what you believe for yourself. You define everything in your world for yourself, and you get in the habit of that, and then outside sources don't have any power over you. You won't become a reactive, impulsive, childish person. Your person will comply and remain calm and remain solid and confident in what it can do. Okay, you get your martial arts together, you do your Aikido, you do your Jiu-Jitsu, and you do your Tai Chi to help you stay at one with your intuitive self and stay identified with your spiritual being. Okay? Okay, and that will help you to exercise, again, the power of belief. And once you have your power of belief under complete and total control, and you understand what it is and how it works, that's it, family. That's it. You, between the martial arts, the Tai Chi, and understanding this power of belief and how to use it, you can have anything you want in this world. And what we're going to do is, I'm not going to spend too much time on that, but we already covered that in the last movie. But we're going to now take it and show you how to discipline yourself and use now this discipline and this control over your person to help yourself to invest and take your monies that you're earning and not waste it on buying frivolous, unnecessary things. And take that money and invest it so you can secure your financial base, so you'll have the material, the financial wealth in order to get the material things that you need in order to move and navigate and negotiate throughout this life cycle and to move across and around this planet. Okay? Okay, so again, to be self-actualized is to define everything for yourself, as I said, to take full responsibility, because when anything goes wrong, that's why we're going to do a paradigm shift. We're not going to allow you, we don't want you to go into this false fantasy belief system where everything some forces outside of you is controlling everything. That's not what it's meant to be. You control everything. You were born to control everything yourself. Okay? And now with that knowledge, you understand that you can't blame nothing outside. You get comfortable with the concept that you're responsible. And because if anything goes wrong, you're the only one that's going to pay. So that's why you don't allow yourself to believe in some fairy tale fantasy and some God outside somewhere. And Jesus, some dude named Jesus, is doing what for you? What? Jesus not going to pay when shit goes wrong. You going to pay. Ain't gonna be no Jesus coming to your rescue. That's all fairy tale and nonsense. Okay? So here, you're gonna function, and step one, you're gonna have a purposeful, when you get up in the morning, you understand you are in total control. Ain't nobody outside other than your parents who are supposed to be guiding you and getting you in the habit of learning how to control this form you got and keeping your environment. See, your parents are going to teach you how to first understand that you are in an environment, that you have a home, that the only environment you can really control is your home and your vehicle, whatever you're traveling in. If you're in a personal vehicle, that's why you want to have your own personal vehicle. So because the goal is to learn to be in the world, but not a part of the herd of the walking dead people. They are just in a herd and they're just going along to get along. They have no self-defense skills. They have no clear awareness of what they are, who they are, why they exist, their purpose, how all this system works. They don't know none of that stuff. They are going on a wing and a prayer, and they're turning everything over to Jesus, and everything else, they just going along, flopping around, haphazardly getting through life. And that's not the way a spiritually aware person does not function like that. That's a child. That's like a walking dead person, a zombie, somebody who has no control. And they've relinquished all of their power and all of their authority to a fictitious fairy tale being somewhere they hope. Okay? Based purely on hope and faith. That maybe it's there. Maybe. Okay? That's why I say we're going to have purposeful living. Gradually, stay flexible, however, as you go through the process of learning and awakening and being educated, okay? And use moderation in all things. Try to avoid extremes, try to be sensible, try to be understanding, try to be reasonable. You live by these principles every day and every step of the way as you mature and go through the process of enjoying this journey we call life, okay? Okay, and you know that the power of belief functions purely on cycles. Everything in this existence works on cycles, on the physical form. And in order to control the physical form, you have to repeat our thoughts because we're micro beings. We have to repeat our vision, repeat our thoughts, repeat the feelings, repeat what it would feel like to already have it. In your now, you're going to take your now and you're going to move it to there so you can bring that now into this. That's called bending time. Baba Philippe Matthews will talk about how you bend time, and that's how you bend time. You allow you utilize the power of your visions and your emotions and the feeling of having something that you want. See yourself having it now already, but over there in the future. But when you're in that vision, you're in the now of that future. Now that's your now. And when you come out of that meditation process, then that brings that now closer to you. And that's what he calls by bending time and bringing that now into your present now. And that's how you're going to attract those things into those visions into your now, your current now, which you're always in current now. Even when you go to that vision, then you're in the now over there. Okay, but you're meditating here, but you're in the vision in that now. Okay, so that's how the power of belief works, and it all works on cycles. So you rinse and repeat, rinse and repeat. Okay, and I already explained to you B, because if anything goes wrong, you're going to be responsible. That's why you don't relinquish any control to anybody outside of self. Everything is within. Everything is within you. Okay. Okay, and the big brother health tip I'm going to give you today is, I thought about this and I gave you the tips about the personal hygiene, and I talked to you about all the parts of the skin that touch you want to clean. All right, you're grooming whichever way you feel is appropriate for you. All of those judgments are on you. Okay, and we knew about the like I said, about keeping your environment clean. This is very important, because if your environment is neat and clean, that's a reflection of your thinking and your level of control over your thought flow. Okay? And you don't have to be perfect and follow every single step, but the more you can be structured in your step, the more organized you will be, the better and easier it will be to find things and to control everything around you. We are now in the evolutionary process of having a more minimalist environment. In other words, you don't want to have a whole bunch of stuff all over the place that you cannot use. You are one physical being in this physical time-space continuum, and you don't need a lot of this stuff. You need a good computer. You can have a monitor, 2 monitors. You can have a good computer system. You can have a beautiful sound system. You can have a couple of televisions. If you live in a home where you have 3 or 4 major rooms, you can have a major living room. You're going to have a television or something in your bedroom, where you're going to have a computer system set up so you can filter out all of the commercials. You want to get all the commercials out of your viewership. You don't want any commercials. Commercials are like poison to the spiritual being, because you can't control it. And that anything you can't control, you don't want in your environment. That's your health tip of the day. Control everything in your environment. And the 2 environments you can control over and above anything else is your home and your vehicle. Now that's just structural facts. Okay, for any life that you live, okay, and wherever you are on this planet, your home and your vehicle and your transportation are the 2 elements that you can control if you own them yourself. Okay. And as far as media goes, forget about this television. You want to avoid commercials like a plague, and you don't want to be mesmerized by your cell phone. Cell phones are practical and they're very useful, but you should never be a prisoner and feel compelled to always check with your phone to see what's going on. You don't need that much exposure to the outside world. Okay, you don't need that. You're dominating. You are the world. Okay, and you can cooperate with others in the world, especially when you start once you're together. Now you want to reach out, and again, like I said, each one teach two, reach two. All you're responsible for is saving two people, getting them out of the herd, waking up two people. That's it. You have no responsibility beyond that. Anything you do beyond that, that's a plus. If you have the capacity, if you have the team behind you to help support you as you can uplift more than two, and you develop a curriculum and a system of living that is going to create more free human beings that are self-actualized, absolutely, go for it. Absolutely. That's why I wrote my book, because I want to be able to free more than just two. But I'm going to try to reach two. My son is one, and I'm going to try to reach at least one more other person in my family that I might be able to reach. And that's personal. So that's my personal too. My book is designed to save as many as I can. That's what my book is designed to do. Okay. And I think I covered that intuitive thing. And I talked about the fact that another element of our self-actualization as micro beings is that we also are higher than the other animated animals in the world, because we leave, like I said, sculptures, artwork. We leave evidence of our having lived and how we lived, other than if we are, there are tectonic and environmental and natural disasters that happen, family. We don't die, the form goes. But the thing is, live well, leave evidence of your well living, leave books, leave digital. See, we've moved now into the digital world. We can leave a digital record of what we have accomplished, so others that come behind us don't have to reinvent the same wheel, don't have to make the same mistakes. And it helps to move the entire human family to the next level. And that's all we're responsible for doing. And you can have a lot of fun in that process. Okay, family? So we're going to move on to the next slide. And I want to talk to you about this. Okay? This is one of the things I want to also help folks to understand, that you want to avoid doing stupid things. And again, we don't want to come into each life and make the same mistakes. So that's why education and the passing of knowledge and wisdom is important. So that's why here we say the definition of insanity is doing the same thing and expecting a better result. That's just not logical. So again, in your spiritual awareness and your intuitive intelligence is going to use logic, okay, and common sense. And you need to use that common sense to the max, okay? The next thing you have to understand about the nature of this existence itself, and I've covered this many times before, evolution. Another word for evolution, that is the overriding force that controls everything here, okay? And evolution means change. Okay, and that's what existence is always going to do. The universe is still expanding outward. That means it's changing. Where it is right now in this minute, a minute from now, on the scheme of time, everything is going to be in a different location. So that's a change. Okay, so that validates the concept that the underlying driving force of everything in existence on a physical and metaphysical plane is change. Okay, and that's what this next statement means. Okay, and everything is constantly evolving. All right. Change your strategy to change your outcomes. Now, that's just some words of wisdom. If you don't like the way things are right now, change how you're thinking. Change the way you see yourself. Change what you believe about yourself. Change, change, change until you find what you like. Keep doing, rinse and repeat what you like that is working, and change everything else that's not working for you until you find something else that works for you and is improving your life, that is improving the quality of your living, that is improving the security in your life, that is improving any of the major aspects of your life that you feel you need. And your judgment is numero uno. Whatever you decide, that's what it is. As long as it's in harmony with righteousness and goodness and moral behavior, okay? Those are your guides. That's what you're going to be guided by. And Baba Michael Imhotep, this is him, okay? And he's the brother that taught me about right knowledge correcting wrong behavior. And that's what I just explained to you. You don't like the way things are going, the way you're behaving, your personal, because the first thing you got to get right is you got to get right within. Okay, and Baba Michael Imhotep is one of my major guides who trained under the same, at the feet of the masters that I trained under, which is Dr. Leonard Jeffries, Professor James Small, Nana Shashi McIntyre, Nana that wrote the book, The ISIS Papers, Francis Cress Welsing, and we had so many other nanas, female nanas that guided us. But Dr. Shashi McIntyre was one of my major female acquaintances, somebody that I sat in at her feet while she instructed us. I didn't know her personally, but I sat there and learned a monumental amount of wisdom from her. And Baba Michael Imhotep, he came up with this statement, or I learned of this statement while watching and taking many of his classes, that right knowledge corrects wrong behavior. And this is what Africans throughout the diaspora, both in America and all throughout the Caribbean, all around the world, that we have navigated to and founded before the mutates crawled out of the caves. We had already circumnavigated the entire planet. Okay, and that knowledge, that right knowledge, is what you have to have, so you won't fall into the wrong behavior of having low self-esteem or believing anything the mutates have to say. Okay, they do say some good stuff, but don't let a mutate define anything for you. Don't do that. Eckhart Tolle will define one element and give you an aspect of wisdom that you can use, but L. Ron Hubbard can give you a whole process by way of that you may use to be able to clean out your mental dysfunction that may be coming from the trauma of some rape or some abuse by some other human form of any racial background. Okay, and he has a system that he has put together that will help you to clear yourself. I love all these self-help people like L. Ron Hubbard and Eckhart Tolle, who happen to be mutated Africans. Okay, they're a few of the good ones. Dr. Jacqueline Badalora is another of the good ones. Tim Weiss is another good one. We have so many of the mutated Africans who realize what their people have been doing and destroying and just really massacring so many people in the world, and just sowing all of this psychopathic chaos. These Boogaloo boys and these Proud Boys and these filthy things like Trump going around the world spewing chaos, and these filthy Confederate GOP in the Republican Party, these filthy animals who are hell-bent on destroying everything in their path just so they can have what they've stolen from the Africans. Okay. All right. And so Baba Michael Imhotep has given us these beautiful words of wisdom and instruction that guides us to empowering ourselves to take control of our lives. And this slide right here says it all. And it goes hand in hand with what Baba Naim Akbar just told us about education and the importance of education in order that your humanity can be fulfilled. Okay, but these words are beautiful, and I will say them in every workshop that we do, that when you control the radius of a person's thoughts, you can control the circumference of their actions. In other words, you can set the boundaries and the limitations of what they will even try to do, because you have taken control of the radius of their thoughts and what things they will think about and what things they will not think of. They're terrified to think about. That's that damn Bible. See, it's designed to limit the radius of what you are allowed to think based on a fake belief system. Okay? And that's what this is teaching us, that you can never allow any mutated African Bible that is a hodgepodge of lies, fairy tales, and myths to define anything for you. Absolutely not. The circumference, the radius of your thoughts. Oh no, nobody gets that power. No Bible, no Quran, nobody gets that power. I'm giving you the power yourself. And you read things like this that's going to empower you. The power is coming from within. Okay? And that's why you don't allow anybody to define the radius of your thoughts. No, only you get that power. And you decide what you want to read and what you're going to put in. Okay? And what you're going to go by. All right? Because only you must be allowed to control the circumference of your actions. Okay? And that is this form that you have to control. That's the action that you want to make sure you stay in control of. Okay? Because the mind cannot do or think or teach what it does not know. And so that's why forget about their education, throw that Bible in the garbage, and only pick and choose what you will read and allow to go into these eyes and into these ears. That's going to define the circumference of your actions and the radius of your thoughts. This one phrase, when you break it down critically, like I'm doing for you here, family, this is solid diamonds. This is precious jewels of wisdom that if you inculcate these things into your life, you are going to liberate yourself from the trappings and the mind games and the matrix of lies from their Bible that was designed to trap you and bog your mind down so you never have any kind of independence or freedom. Okay? And that's why your mind can't do or think or teach what it does not know, particularly about itself, which is the mind space, and others. Okay? So what you do for yourself and what you do to yourself and what you allow others to do to you and get away with it is based solely upon what you think about yourself. Okay? And what you think about yourself is, again, based on who is controlling the radius of your thoughts. And that person has to be you at all times. Nobody but you. Not me, you. Okay? And what you think about yourself can only be based on upon what you've been taught about yourself, and what you've been what you think about yourself is based upon what you've been taught about yourself, and what you've been taught about yourself is based on everything that you have read, heard, and seen. And again, the worst thing you could start out with is their Bible, because they are going to terrorize your ass with some visions and some lies about a heaven that don't exist, and terrorize the living shit out of you by telling you there is an apocalyptic end of the world that's going to come. If you don't, and if you don't have Jesus doing everything for you, you're going to go to hell and burn in eternal damnation, which is a goddamn, I'm sorry, family, I get so, just when I think about it, it enrages me that they can lie to you and use a terror tactic like that, a mental terror tactic on you to make you believe, not encourage you or empower you like I'm doing. Nothing that I have said here had anything to do with terrorizing you and making you afraid that if you don't do what I'm telling you to do, you're going to burn in hell for eternal damnation. Only a con job and a cult does something like that. And that's why I said, throw that goddamn Bible in the garbage. How dare they? How dare they lie to you like that? Steal your and rob you of your God-given right and authority to control every aspect of your life for yourself, and only under your definition and what you see fit to define your whole world for yourself. Nobody gets to do that. And it's an insult. And it's a crime for anybody to lie to you like that. People who do that should be locked up and put in a prison for lying. And that's why the Africans never lied. They didn't say, thou shalt not lie. They say, I have not lied. I have not. My behavior has been the best I can be. Filthy. Oof. So again, and what you've been taught about yourself is based on everything you've read, heard, and seen, and all the lies that they put up on that television about that your whole existence as an African started with slavery. See? And their Bible backs it up with a hodgepodge, a matrix of lies about some Noah and some goddamn lying ass story about him getting drunk. And you ain't gonna look at him getting drunk. What the hell is he doing getting drunk? He's supposed to be so righteous. Anyway, so moving right along, and this is why I don't want you to ever watch their television. Because between that Bible and that goddamn TV, this is what you're gonna be, a zombie. Something that can't control any aspect of your life. You will subconsciously become a zombie in a herd, a walking dead person, and you won't even know it. And that's what's so criminally diabolical about what they do. And you can see it in these Confederate GOP. Look how they lie to you every day in your face. They lie to you. These are the same people that holding up their Bible. Same people. Full of lies. So you go to jury duty and let the judge tell you, what do you do if you catch a witness that lies? What do you do with his testimony? What do you do with his whole book of testimony, you throw it out. Put it in the garbage where it belongs. And that's why I put this slide up for you, so you understand when you look up into that lying Bible and watch their filthy television with their commercials. Now, the monitors, the computer, I use that because you can pick and choose what you're going to allow to come into these eyes, free of commercials. That's why I watch a movie, because I don't want to hear no commercial. And some of them commercials are very cute, very good children. They want you St. Jude's and the Shriners Hospital and their cancer, which they ain't doing nothing new, and they haven't come up with nothing new. They need Elon Musk to get in there and really show them how to do the real innovating. Because right now they are dragging their feet on purpose, because you're nothing but a cash cow to these filthy, cave-dwelling, mutated African vampires, werewolves, and ghouls. They just got better lipstick now. But the fact that they created that Bible lets you know, in their essence, they are filthy. Otherwise, why would you create something like that? That is a bold-faced lie. Anyway, so moving right along, what they do, the filthy Confederates in the GOP and in their churches, look, this is what they want, what they do to you. They mess with your cognitive ability to judge for yourself and create good, clear judgment. And that creates, so they tell you a perfect lie. So when you finally hear the truth, you slip into both Stockholm syndrome, which is capture bonding, okay, and this kind of cognitive dissonance is what hits you. Is when you hear the truth, okay. Cognitive dissonance describes when we avoid having conflicting beliefs and attitudes because it makes us feel uncomfortable. So they initiate you with a fairy tale and a beautiful story of angels and white Jesus and white God, and he's so benevolent, even though they slaughtered Jesus on a cross and murdered his ass. But the white God, and the God let it happen, and then just they're so perfect. Okay, so now you brainwashed and you mesmerized by that lie. Okay, so when we come and tell you the truth, you find it unbelievable. And the clash is usually dealt with by rejecting. You reject anything outside of their line now because you're comfortable with master. He stopped raping you. So listen, he stopped raping me. Don't come mess this up now. I finally stopped raping me. So don't come in here telling me the truth and trying to wake me up and make me start working all over again. See, that's going to be your attitude. See? You're going to reject and debunk or avoid new information because you don't want to rock the boat. Massa, stop raping you. He promised not to sell your mama this week. Okay? So you in the Stockholm syndrome. The police finally stopped murdering George Floyd's for now. But they're going to go right back to it. They've been doing it for over 450 years. They're going to go right back. They're creatures of their habits. And they love killing. I keep telling you that. They can't help themselves. They're filthy vampires, werewolves, and ghouls. And they love killing. That's why they go hunting. They kill animals, drink the blood of the deer, eat the heart. Filthy, nasty bastards. See, they can't help it. Those are the Boogaloo Boys. Not all white people go by the category and enjoy the privilege, the special privilege and entitlements that comes with being designated as white and liars thieves, scumbags that they are. Not all, just 78 million of them voted for Trump. So there's 78 million of them, 78 million of them in America. And you can't get around that. That's facts of history. And they will never be able to get around that. That crew that attacked the Capitol because they saw Obama get in office, and then Kamala Harris and saw those black people getting off, and they tried to trot out some token Negro that they put in the front of all of their riots. And then they started lying about everything in sight as they try to murder cops, break into buildings, and tear up the place because they can't get their entitlement and their special privileges that only they are allowed to get. They don't want none of this damn equality. Okay, and conservatism itself means that they're free to enslave others and do the goddamn to whoever they want, whichever way they want to. That's what conservatism means. It means you do not want any kind of change. And I already told you, when you go against change, you're going against the evolutionary process itself, and you're boxing with armor, and you're gonna lose. Okay? And that's what this means. Conservatism means that they are completely and totally against any kind of change that's gonna take away their special privileges and their entitlement to all the first choices of all the benefits that come from us all paying taxes. And that's why we're going to get even with the ass on reparation, because we've been paying taxes, but we have not gotten equality and equal access to all of these wealth that our taxes have paid for, and the free 400 years of free labor that our ancestors gave them that we have never been paid back for. Okay, so 2 is a commitment to traditional values and ideas with opposition to change or innovation of any kind. Okay, proponents of theological conservatism. That's one of the other meanings. Theological, that's their goddamn Bible. That filthy, nasty, vicious book of lies. Okay? And political views that favor free, in other words, they want to be able to kill anybody they want to. When they just look at election, they say, no, that don't look fair. We're going to throw it out, and we're going to murder everybody in sight that tries to fight us, to keep us from forcing them to do what we want them to do, because that's what we say we want them to do. And if they can't kick our ass and kill our asses, then we're going to make them do what we tell them to do. And that's how these brutes, these filthy boogaloo boys and Trump and them scumbags and that piece of shit party called the Confederate GOP Grand Old Party of goddamn Republican filthy dogs. That's what they mean. And that's what they'll do if you don't stop them. And that includes Joe Manchin and that damn Christian Cinema. They right there with them, undercover Confederates. West Virginia was the seat of the Confederacy. Okay, look it up. It's right there in front of you. Okay, and when you see the private ownership, that means they don't want to come under the rule of no government. So in private industry, they do what they want to do with their niggas, with their slaves. That's what they're talking about when they say private ownership. That's why they want to privatize everything, because now they don't have to follow no rules. They can do what they want to do. Like I said, they want to do the goddamn with anybody they want to. That's what the Confederate GOP, that's what they want. They want to be able to get that. They would love to get their hands on Social Security. They will drain that goddamn Social Security fund of every dime. And then they will look at everybody on Social Security, black and white, and they will say, what's your problem? You can't get it together? That's on you. We stole everything, but hey, you didn't stop us. We dumb brutes. We do whatever you let us get away with. That's how they roll. What you gonna do about it? Okay, so, the rest of this is, I just want you to see this. This is something I did on my BANTU-Morpheus, Bantu Tesla site, as I showed all of my experience. This is my training I took in basic advanced NCO. I took basic NCO in the military. I graduated with a 2-year degree from Bronx Community College in 2002. Okay, and these were a couple of my guys. After I had gotten an E6, I had to be an E6 just to go to advanced NCO school, and I had already taken the basic NCO in the military. And this is my my section. This is my second in charge, Benny, and I forget this brother's name, but he was one of my troops that was in my unit, and we were having an inspection, so I had to be in full dress uniform that day. Okay, and when I left that in 1979, and I started working for the federal government as an armed security officer, and I did that for 3 years, working for the IRS and the Social Security. Okay, and that was a great job. And I carried a gun and the whole 9 yards, so I know what it's like to be involved with law enforcement. All right, and with that, I'm going to go on and skip down, and we're going to start talking about, I want to start talking about this with you folks. We're going to get into this financial aspect of, okay, and this is what we're going to do. We're going to focus on, I want to teach you how, now that you have a control over your environment, you're controlling your mindset, you're doing your meditations, you got your whole environment together, you've learned to value the worth of your work, and you're going to take the funds and the monies that you get, and you're going to start saving. You're going to start investing in yourself. You're going to start buying things that are going to allow your money to grow instead of allowing your money to sit in a bank and just shrink in value. So in order to keep your money from shrinking in value, you have to invest in things that's growing in value. Okay, and that's what investing is going to do. So you're going to trade your time, and you're going to take your time that you spend working, and you're going to take that money that you're going to get, all right, and you're going to invest that money so that your money will earn money for you in step 2 here, okay? And then in step 3, you're going to take this investment strategy and you're going to use multiple sources. You want to develop multiple sources of income, and that's going to happen here. When you start investing in both stocks, these are stocks right here, everything up to here, up to Doge, Ethereum, and Bitcoin, you're going to, these are all stocks here, okay? And that's what you want to do. And these stock investments are going to grow over time. And this is Tesla at the time. On that date was January 30th. In the beginning of the year, it was $800 some odd dollars, is now $1,200. So it's grown $400 per share. So if you got 100 of them, you've just made $400 times 100. So that should give you somewhere around 4,000, or more than that. Actually, it'd be like $40,000. Okay, you will have made just on 100 shares. And so see, your money is growing in leaps and bounds by dealing with Tesla. Same with FUB. Well, FUB has gone down, and some of these stocks are going to go up, some are going to go down. But what we're doing, as we are long-term investors, and as long-term investors, what we do, and I have a long-term investment group on Facebook, and what we do is we wait until the stocks go down from these current prices that they have here, and we buy more. When they go down, we're in this, by the way, long-term investment. Long-term investing means that we buy stocks and hold them from minimum of 5 years to 10-year minimum. I'm a 15-year person. So I started investing in 2019. And in that period from 19 to 20, 20 to 21, and 21 now to 22, in these last 3 years, I've been able to grow my portfolio from $4,500, and I've added a little bit more. So it was a total of about maybe $6,000, $7,000. And I've grown that portfolio to over $100,000 in the last 3 years, investing primarily in Tesla stock. Tesla did 90% of the growth that I got from Tesla. I've been all in on Tesla stock, and the rest of these things have been invested in little bits and pieces on the side. But most of my gains have all been because I invested in Tesla when it was only less than $200 a share. And I didn't get that many of them. But they split and grew, and now they're continuing to grow. And if they split again, then they're going to grow again. And I'm going to stick with it. And this is just 3 years of the first 5. That's going to be 15 years for me. Okay, that's how long I'm going to be in this. So the beauty of long-term investing is you really don't have to care about the ups and downs of the stock. You know you got a solid stock. You wait until it dips and you buy more. Everything is about buying more, okay? And you're going to hold it for 5, 10, 15 years. So you don't care about, even if there is a stock market crash, you hope for it because you want to keep some cash on the side. So when the stock market crashes and everything goes red, you start buying more. You're never in a panic. You just buy more. See, we're self-actualized family. We don't panic. We're never in a panic. We're never worried about anything. We're self-actualized, okay? So we're always looking for opportunities to buy more. That's all we're looking for, okay? Okay, so, and I'm just showing you here, this is the gains that I made from 2019 until January 30th. And my whole portfolio, and a lot of this 4,000% gain right here is the result of some small stocks that I bought that really exploded, like Dogecoin. When I bought Dogecoin, Dogecoin was like, see here, when I bought it, it was like 0.05. It was like 5 cents. Now Dogecoin is 19 cents. And I bought hundreds and thousands of them when they were 0.04 cents. Okay. So now they're 19 cents. So everything is on this side of that little dot right there. Okay. And everything on that side of the dot is big gain for a little penny, less than a penny stock there. Because you don't even get to a penny until you get you got to get to 0.1, okay, or 0.01 is a penny. So okay, and now this stock is now 0.19, so it's 19 pennies, and that went up as high as 70 cents. Okay, and that would have been a good time to sell because Dogecoin is more of a, when it goes up, you sell some. Wait for it to go back down, you buy back into it. Ride it back up, it's going to go back up because Elon Musk has backed this coin. And, I kind of trust his judgment. He does deep research, and I trust his judgment on that. So I'm kind of going out on a limb, which you really shouldn't do, but it's a cheap stock. You're only going to invest a couple of $100 in it. So if it blows up to like $30 or something like that, now you're going to make $100,000 on a $100 bet. I mean, come on, family. That's called speculation. These are speculative stocks. There is no real basis on the fact that it's going to go up other than confidence that Elon has looked at the what they call it, what do they call it? It's called coinomics or something. I'll put a link to the guy who really explains tokenomics, the tokenomics of these cryptocurrencies. These Dogecoin, Ethereum coin, and Bitcoin are cryptocurrencies. Now this Bitcoin is up to as high as $50,000 now. When I looked at it here back in January 30th on 2021, Bitcoin was just $30,000 for one coin. Okay, it's gone up to as high as $60-something thousand for one coin. I think I bought in at about 50,000 for one coin. So it's dropped down to 45. If I had more money, I would buy, and with Bitcoin, you don't have to buy the whole coin. You can put $1,000 into it. You could put $500 in, you could put $100 into it. But the good thing about cryptocurrency, I use Voyager and I use, what is the other? Coinbase. I use Coinbase and Voyager. Voyager is an app on your cell phone. Coinbase, you can run that on your desktop computer. And I tend to favor desktop computer programs because they tend to allow me to have a little more flexibility and everything is big on the screen. I can see what the hell's going on. Okay, I don't like the apps, they're teeny, they're small, but they work, they're okay. And also Robinhood is another good one. A lot of people don't like it because they don't feel like it's secure, but so far it's been holding up pretty well. Okay. But again, Ethereum coin, Bitcoin, Dogecoin, any of these cryptocurrencies, you don't have to buy the whole coin. You can buy fractionals. They call it fractional shares, parts of a share, parts of a coin. Okay. And that's what we're going to be doing with this long-term investing, family. Okay. And again, these are the cryptocurrencies that I'm basically looking at. This is Ethereum, Bitcoin, Dogecoin. Okay. I'm also looking at some other ones that are called Solana, and Solana is another one, and Cardano. But I'm basically looking at Solana because Solana seems to be holding up very well, and it has a track record where you can follow it. You can go into Yahoo and you can follow it. Okay. So I wanted to give you that, and I also want to now introduce you to some of the terminology that we're going to be using. Okay, with this particular. I'm gonna do a little check here. I'm gonna check my time. I don't know how long we've been going here, but I don't want to overdo it. Okay, but this is some of the terminology you need to know, okay, as you're getting into long-term investing. Okay, and this is one of my vocabulary lists that I put out. Okay, so that you need to be familiar with these terms. First principle, look at a company, break it down, see what it is, what do they do in essence, in their beginning. Break it down and keep it simple. Is what the product that they're creating is going to be long-term needed, long-term, like solar panels, battery backup systems. These are the new innovative systems that everybody is investing in. This is the future. Renewable energy, battery backup systems that's going to store that energy. You're going to get that energy from wind power, primarily solar power, and you can have hydro power, and you can have geothermal. These are other sources of renewable energy. In other words, energy that you can create and store in a battery without having to burn anything. See, that's the kind of renewable energies that are always abundant, okay? And that's what you want to invest in. And if you go back here and look at this list, my list of items here, you'll see this TLGRF and this NMGRF. These are lithium. The batteries that are storing this power is primarily made of lithium. So these are lithium mining operations that I have started investing in, okay? And CBD and Planet Fitness, these are two cannabis plays, because we are, everybody, basically the word is they're going to eventually have to decriminalize cannabis because you're bogging the courts down with unnecessary, frivolous, non-criminal cases over this stupid miscategorization of a chemical that is far less dangerous than liquor. People are getting drunk and driving head-on into oncoming cars, killing people on the road with liquor 1,000 times more than this is happening. And this stuff is on the federal list of banned drugs, and you allow people to drive drunk. It's just insane. And so we know the logic of it is going to dictate that it's going to come to an end. It's just logical. We can't continue to waste the money on it, okay? And that's why we predict, everybody predicts this is going to happen. Okay, so I want to introduce you to that. I wanted to introduce you to these definitions, these terms you need to be familiar with. Technology is, that's self-explanatory. Vertical integration is the companies that bring all of their creation and all their resources and all of their manufacturing as much in-house as possible so they can control every aspect of it. They don't have to go to outside sources in order to get parts and things that they need to make their cars. And Tesla is tops on that because they are making their own batteries. They're coming up with innovative, brand new ways of manufacturing cars. They've created the whole manufacturing process in a totally innovation and new way. And they've gone down to first principle and built it up from scratch. And now it's unbelievable. It's next level, and they're 10 years ahead of all of the other car companies. So there's no way they're going to catch up. 10 years. So that in 10 years is when I'm going to start looking to see where my Tesla stock is at. And I'm going to have to sell some because I'm going to have to we're going to buy a Tesla car this year. We're going to get our first Tesla. So we're hoping that right now, Tesla stock is close to $1,200 a share. So we're hoping it'll bounce up to 15 so that I can sell just like a few shares in order to get the car. Okay. And the rest of this terminology, ICE means internal combustion engine, AEV means all electric vehicle, or EV means electric vehicle. Scaling a product means you start out slow, you start the manufacturing product, and then you want to get all of the bugs out, and then you want to speed up how fast you create these products, and that's called scaling the product up. Okay. And I've told you about innovation. That means, completing, renewed, or reinventing. Okay, completely renewing, creating a completely new way of manufacturing something or creating something, and or reinvented. You're going to reinvent how you create things. That's what innovation means. Bifurcation means you can have two different types of elements of your manufacturing process, or different elements of the way you're going to innovate that product, okay? And bifurcating means two different. Bi-for means anything bi is cut in two. Bisect, bicycle, two wheels, okay? And savage just means abrupt and really disruptive, innovative technology, mind-boggling. And that's what Tesla is doing. And investment terms, you're going to ROI is your return on investment. You're going to invest $100, you expect to get 1,000. You expect to get 100,000. That's the return on your investment. That's what you expect. And that's what you will only invest in, is things you expect to get a higher return, not a lower return. CapEx means the capital, the amount of money you're expending to build a factory. That's what Tesla is doing. I'm always going to cite that example because they're on the top they're doing the top line innovations that are going on right now. And they're reinventing everything from scratch. And so Tesla is spending money to reinvent things that are going to make them a return on their investment that's going to be exponential in growth. In other words, they'll spend $100, but they're going to make 1,000. Okay, that's a return on your investment, and that's the amount of capital they're going to expend is going to be $100 to make 1,000. And when year over year, you want to look at the progress of a company from one year over to the next year. So that's what YOY means. And you can have month over month, week. Nobody looks at week over week. We always look basically every 3 months, from 3 months of this year to the next following year in that same 3-month period. And that's how you gauge the progress of, your stock. Okay. So these are terms you just need to know. And Q1 to Q4, these are the 3-month periods. They're called quarters. Every 3 months is a quarter. 4 quarters make up a year, just like 4 quarters make up a dollar. Okay. And peak to peak, that's when you're looking at a graph, and it could be peak to peak going down, or you want to see peak to peak going up. You always want to see the lows, the last low, and the next low is higher than the last low. So you want to see everything. You want to see everything going in that direction, going up. You don't want to see anything going down. You don't want to see that. Okay. And that's just some of the terminology. Okay, family. And I'm going to skip down. I was going to get into this right here. But these are the sources that I use. They're mostly all YouTubers, and I use Yahoo Finance to do all of my charting and graphing. I have a new charting device that I'm learning right now that's just as good, but Yahoo Finance is free, and so is this other charting system that they're all free. And that's the good thing about all this. All of this stuff is free. I get all my imagery, all my spelling, everything from Google. Google is free. Okay, my company's website, you can go to any company website through Yahoo, and you can get their prospectus, and it's all free. The company's S10 and their 8K financial reports are all free. They're all posted free. You don't have to spend any money to access any of this data. And over time, you'll get good at it and you'll know how it all works. Now here, these are my analysts, but this guy here, Tony Seba, this is the guy I really want you to pay attention to. His book is, where's Tony's book? Thought I had it on here somewhere. Okay, this is his book. It's called Clean Disruption. He also has a website, okay, where he does, his website is called Rethink X. So you can go on to YouTube and type in Rethink X or type in Tony Seba, and you can go there and watch all of his videos. And I'm going to tell you this now. Everybody that is doing anything next level in the innovative space and the disruptive technological space is using Tony Seba's analysis. Tony Seba predicted now 8 years ago everything that we're starting to do now. He predicted it 8 years ago. Kathy Woods is running ARK Invest, and all of her analysts, I can guarantee you, they have read Tony Seba's book and they watch his YouTube website and they follow his lead everywhere he tells them to go. And he has a comprehensive, deep, complex analysis and research white paper that he has put out on the direction of where we're going to be by 2035. That's how far ahead this guy is predicting. And everybody is following his lead. And the number one company that is following Tony Seba is ARK Invest and Kathy Wood. Okay? And that's where I wanted to get you to on this website and introduce you to Tony Seba. And these are the 5 innovative, disruptive energy sources and innovative products that are going to be coming out that's going to revolutionize the way we utilize energy, the way we use transport. Is going to, autonomous vehicles is going to become dominant. It's going to revolutionize the way we travel, and on-demand transportation is going to be a part of that, as well as solar and these batteries. Okay, they're going to work hand in hand to revolutionize the way we use transport, the way we capture energy and store energy and utilize energy. It's going to be on a whole new level. And then when you go to his website, he's updated his book that he wrote 7-8 years ago. Now he's done websites now, YouTube videos that does a phenomenal job of showing you charts and graphs to validate how he knows exactly what's getting ready to happen. Okay, and that's Tony Seba. Okay, so now I'm going to do one more thing with you guys, and then I'm going to let you go. Okay, because I think we kind of shot our load here with this. Oh no, where's that annotation tool? Okay, that's this one here. Okay, and so I want to do, what I'm going to do is I'm going to stop sharing this. I have this queued up for you already, and we're going to go ahead and watch Kathy Woods. She's done a recent YouTube that's going to give you some really good information here. Now I'm going to go back and start sharing. Where's Kathy Woods? I got her queued up here. And now I'm going to have to share sound with you. So I'm going to cut off this thing here. All right, we're going to go into Kathy. I'm going to go into share. I'm going to share the sound. I want you to watch this, and I may stop it and give you some updated information on what Kathy's talking about here. Okay. And she's going to pick it right up after she's talked about, Kathy does a periodic, like every 3 months, she'll do a show here where she's talking about, she just gives you basically her input on what's going on with the markets and with innovation and with the things that she's covering with her, with her company, ARK Invest. All right. And here we go.
What we've been trying to size up for the last few months is, where is real demand? And now that all of these employees are coming back to work and we're revving up the engine even faster, the engine of the economy, we're looking at other statistics that show a divergence from that. One of them, the most important, is consumer sentiment. University of Michigan has the best consumer sentiment survey out there. Richard Curtin, who's just retiring, started this survey in 1974, and it is recognized as the best in measuring consumer sentiment. Consumer sentiment is down to levels that we last saw at the depth of the coronavirus. Both in November and December. Now, that's a very important part of the time of the year for the consumer to be feeling a little unconfident because it's the biggest selling season of the year. And so that, we believe, has become a problem. We have numbers for November. Retail sales were down they were up 0.3%. But when you take inflation out, what did real spending do? So what was unit growth in retail? It was down 0.3%. If you annualize that, that's about 3.5% at a really important time in the year. Retail sales are mostly goods. If you add in services, you see that real consumption in total, goods and services, was flat. Again, very important time of the year, and a time also when we thought this pent-up demand for services would cause a burst in service consumption. We didn't see it. So that is one indicator telling us something is not right out there. The other is, again, reflecting on third quarter GDP statistics. In the third quarter of last year, real GDP was up 2.3%. It was a big disappointment relative to expectations. But what the headlines did not feature, and still are not featuring, is that practically all of that growth went into inventories. It wasn't sold. Real final sales were up a tenth or maybe 0.2. So even in the third quarter, now remember, that's reaching back to June. Even in the third quarter, inventories were starting to build at a time when everyone was talking about supply chain problems. And I think what we were beginning to see is the consumer getting quite upset that the prices of necessities, were escalating and destroying purchasing power. So that's interesting. Now, what gets even more interesting is watching the inventory numbers in the fourth quarter. Wholesale inventories in October were up something like 2.5%, 2 to 2.5%. Now that's month to month. That's not year over year. Annualize that, and we're talking about 25 to 35% increase in inventories. Remember, this is when supply chain issues were causing all kinds of shortages. And then again, in November, wholesale inventories up 1.2%. Again, double-digit rate, annualized.
Okay, now see, this is important, family. This is important because what she's basically telling you here is that inventory means this is stuff that they haven't been able to sell to people. In other words, people are not buying. People are so insecure, they don't feel comfortable spending their money buying anything. They're so, in other words, there's so much turmoil going on with the Confederates in the Congress and with Ron DeSantis and all of these mad, insane Confederate GOP governors lying and cheating and disrupting everything in sight because they feel like they're losing their control over their entitlements and their preferential treatment. So they're going against the government. Confederates are people who fought the Civil War, who hate our government. And Ronald Reagan started this this resurgence of the Confederate movement, where they've decided that they're going to destroy this government so they can go back to doing the goddamn with anybody they want to. They do not like law and order. Confederate GOP, Confederate Republican Party hate law and order. They like chaos. They want to be able to rape, rob, steal, lie, and do whatever they want to do. And do the goddamn to anybody they want, and they don't want. And if you can't kick their ass and take their head off, then they feel they have the right, by God, to do the goddamn to anybody they want to, and do whatever they want to, because they're white and they have a right to do it. They'll never come out and admit it. Trump did, but that's what they believe. And the Bible tells them so, that they're white and they have the right to do whatever the hell they want to anybody. If they can get away with it, then they're supposed to be able to do it. That's the way they believe. That's what they believe in their marrow. I don't care what they say. Look at what they do. And this is causing such a disruption that they're price gouging. The other these people are lawless administrations throughout the world is the Russians, lawless bastards. And they will do whatever they have to do because they only survive on oil. Once their oil is gone, and that's why they don't like Tesla, that's why they don't like all of this renewable energy movement, and that's why they're trying to disrupt everything and take over any government, state government, anything they can get their hands on. And that's why they're backing up this Republican Confederate GOP party, because they know the GOP party is hell-bent on disrupting any kind of lawful structural organization so they can get to that U.S. Treasury and rob the living hell out of it. And the Russians are criminals, organizations, and they will do whatever they can to help anybody else, help them to disrupt democracy, because democracy is the enemy of corruption. The criminals of the world hate democracy. Okay, and these inventory drops is the result of people being feeling insecure, and they don't like the products that are coming out, and they don't feel safe, and they feel like COVID can come on again. They won't be able to work, they won't be able to make money, so they're not spending money. And why is COVID out of control? Because of Trump and his Confederates and DeSantis and these crazy bastards telling people, oh, just go ahead and get sick. We'll get herd immunity. Dumb, stupid moron running on pure, instinctive, dumb intelligence. And they have no goddamn idea what they're talking about. They just making shit up. That's what they do.
Part of the reason is consumption was not playing ball. And then you look at retail inventories in November, up 2%. That's month to month, annualized. Annualized, 24% plus. So this is something I don't think the headlines have captured. You might be surprised to hear it as well. Now, we have some other very interesting statistics. Imports in November were up 4.7%. Again, supply chains clearing up, the ships finally being cleared, not completely, but a lot faster. Did that go into inventories? They didn't make it into consumption, at least unless there was a barn burner of a December. And we do hear the credit card companies talking about strong sales, but they've been talking about strong sales for quite some time. The economic statistics, which are much broader based, are suggesting that that's some kind of overstatement or share shift, mix shift. Then we get to autos. I think this is the most fascinating part of what's going on in the economy right now. The Manheim Used Car Index has been screaming. I think the prices of used cars at their peak had increased on a year-over-year basis something like 60%. And that was adding to the CPI. Well, very interestingly, we've had a few reports now that suggest that the bubble was in used cars, and that it might be bursting. We can see this a few ways. On a year-over-year basis now, used car sales units are falling. They're down 4%. November to December, they were flat, but year-over-year, that was down 4%.
Okay, I'm going to add this in here. You got to keep this in mind, family. Two points I wanted to make with the last thing was to tell you that, bear in mind, America, Trump, and the Confederates have been going around touting how great America is. And as I have said in my other movies, America has never, ever been great. They just been talking crap. Like GM, they talk crap. Like all of these other original equipment manufacturers, OEMs, they talk crap, but they are not doing nothing. Their products stink, suck, they're cheap, lousy, break down left and right, and they are designed, again, America was founded on corruption, illegal, they are anti law and order. They want to be able to do the goddamn to the consumer and treat them they do the same thing in the medical industry, in the dental industry, you name it. Everything in America is designed to rob you blind of your money. And so what they do is when they hate regulation, that is anybody that's overseeing them and making them do the right thing by you. They hate that. The Confederate GOP party is filled, and they're lobbied to the teeth with money from these manufacturing companies that is robbing you and have substandard products. America barely makes anything at all. That's why when the supply chain problems came about, when they couldn't get the oil to get the boats moving, when they couldn't get people to get the stuff off the boats, where you think the stuff is coming from on the boats, folks? They're coming from the real great country in the world. Whatever country is manufacturing stuff the most, those are the great countries. And the greatest country in the world is China, not America. America is rock bottom. They're right down there on the bottom with who in this country? They don't have shit. As far as manufacturing, forget about it. America is rock bottom, founded on corruption, ran on corruption. All of the industries and all of the contracts that they give out by the government, corrupt, because the manufacturers, the companies, and the Confederates in the GOP, that's why they want all that money for the military, because that's where they're robbing the U.S. Treasury blind, giving contracts out to people that don't do what they say they're going to do. And Elon Musk is the only one that's coming in and getting ready to break all that mess up. Let's go.
We're seeing prices finally start to fall. They were down 1.2% month to month. Again, that's a big decrease month to month. Annualized, roughly 12%. On a year-over-year basis, they're still up 46%, but they have started to fall. And what tells us that they will continue to fall, and mind you, they've had a disproportionate impact on the CPI. What tells us they will continue to fall is now an inventory buildup in the used car space. Normal inventories for used cars are, I believe, 43 days. Now they are at 54 days. So well above average. And I believe at their lows, they were in the 20-day supply range. Now, many people are looking at the hike in used car prices, and they've probably been thinking about selling that car.
I'm sorry. That what I wanted to tell you is that this what she's talking about is you're watching the beginning of the end of the internal combustion engine, and the fossil fuel industry is dying right before your eyes. And again, I always remind you, I'm telling you about things that are going to happen 3 to 5 years in advance. Okay, and Tony Seba talks about this. He confirms it, he validates it. But now what she's talking about is this inventory growing from 20% now to 50%, which is 10% above the average inventory. Inventory means the amount of cars they have that they want to sell, but they haven't been able to sell. So when you hear their inventory is growing, I mean, people are turning cars in to buy new cars, and these used cars are just sitting there and they're not selling. And that's what I said is going to happen to these internal combustion engines, folks. That's why I'm getting an all electric EV in 2 more months, in 4 more months, because these internal combustion engine cars are just going to be sitting around. And nobody's going to want them. Nobody's want anything to do with them, and you're watching the beginning of the end right now.
And that extra car maybe that they bought to avoid mass transit during the coronavirus, if they see prices coming down, they probably will move a little more quickly. And then on the wholesale front, this Manheim index says that inventory levels typically are 23 days. Now they are 33 days. So that's interesting on the used car front. On the new car front, fascinating, at an annual rate here in the United States, new auto sales peaked in April at 18.25 million units. Now, when we got to October and the auto OEMs were talking on earnings reports, each one of them, including Elon Musk, was saying, okay, the chip shortage is beginning to alleviate. Now, they had been blaming the decline in sales because it started in April, and it was declined to 13 million units from 18 and a quarter. That 13 is an October number. Chips were the missing link. Okay, they're starting to be replenished. November, 12.86. December, we just got this number, 12.44. Meanwhile, you've got electric vehicle sales up nearly 100% at an annual rate. What's going on here? Well, it could be a combination of consumer sentiment not being happy about what's going on, and a consumer preference shift towards electric vehicles. That is why at the CES show, the Consumer Electronics Show, you heard these auto OEMs talking more about electric vehicles. Of course, it was the electronics show. And we saw that Ford's F-150 Lightning, that they were going to have to double production given all of the demand. Well, what they don't tell you during those appearances at CES and so forth is that electric vehicles make up maybe 2 to 3% of their sales, and that 97% of their revenue bases are gas-powered vehicles. And it's probably 90% plus of their production now. If there is the combination of the consumer turning off, not wanting to spend as much money, certainly not on big ticket items, and a preference shift, if they're going to spend, they're going to spend on electric, then these OEMs have an issue. They have a problem.
And therein lies what I've been telling you, the beginning of the end of the internal combustion engine and the fossil fuel industry. And what Kathy is telling you is they have 90% of their vehicles that they're offering to the public is dropping in sales, even after the chip shortage is over. But the EV sales are going through the roof. Even before the chip shortage was over, the EV sales, the demand for Tesla has been over through the roof. That's why it takes me 6 months to get a brand new Tesla. I can go out there right now and get a GM gas-powered car, and they'll probably give me big discount just to take it because nobody wants them. The price of gas is damn near $4 or $5 a gallon. Nobody wants a gas-powered car. And the reason they jacked the price up is because they lost so much money during the coronavirus. The oil prices had dropped below $40 a barrel. As a matter of fact, it dropped so low, they were begging people to take the oil and put it in ships just so they can keep it moving, because oil is something you got to keep moving. If you let it stop moving, they stop pumping. It takes months and months to get it going again. So they don't want to stop pumping. So they start storing it in barges and parking them out on the ocean. Okay, oil industry is dying, and so is the gas-powered car industry. Renewables are in, all electric vehicles are in, and they're in high demand. And you're going to see this trend continue to get worse. And these OEMs, GM and Ford, and all these guys are doing what the Confederate GOP and Trump and these filthy Confederates always do. They give you a bunch of happy talk. And what they're doing is they're lying, because that's what they have to do, because they have no agenda. The Confederate GOP party has no agenda for America except destruction and corruption. And they will destroy the water supply, they will destroy the food supply, they will destroy all of the legal systems, and they will introduce corruption, lying, stealing, robbing, and that's all they know. And what they do is they distract you by claiming to try to, again, happy talk. We want to make you free. We're going to make sure you're free. Free to do what? To rob and steal and kill and murder and rape and do whatever you want to do. Because they don't like law and order. They pay lip service. They love everybody in blue. But look what they did to the cops over at the U.S. Capitol on January 6th. Did that look like love to you? Calling them cops niggers, killing 5 of them. So some of them were so disrupted, so distorted, so disheartened, they committed suicide. That's loving and supporting blue? Oh, please. Happy talk. Saying one thing and lying their asses off. There ain't nothing good in them, nowhere. And if Mitt Romney's supposed to be a good one, Joe Manchin, who's supposed to be a Democrat, he's still trying to stop the voting rights act. He's stopping the bill that would have cut $7,000 out of the off of the price of the EVs. Ain't nothing good in him. And Joe Manchin is just an undercover Democrat who's a Confederate undercover acting like a Democrat. He's not a Democrat. Neither is Christian Sinema from Arizona. Joe Manchin is from West Virginia, the seat of the Confederacy.
And we think we're going to hear more about it in the quarterly reports, and we hope analysts start asking about it. Now, I look at the performance of stocks like GM and Ford. They soared on those electric vehicle announcements. Think about that. That's ridiculous. It's only 2% of their sales. And what if the other 98% or so forth are on their way out as the consumer preference shifts toward electric? They have problems.
Okay, and here again, family, this is what I call a paradigm shift. You're watching a convergence of paradigm shifts. People are moving away from gas-powered cars and they want the electric vehicles. They have zero maintenance just about. They have to worry about the price of gas going up. They have no exhaust pipes. They have no transmission. They have no engines that need to be maintained. When the women get wise to this, you're starting to see the awakening of the American consumer away from the vaporware and the happy talk of all of these lying ass original equipment manufacturers, OEMs, and the auto manufacturers, and they're lying. They're not trying to create any electric vehicles. And what's going to happen, family, is they're going to lie and lie and lie and promise you all kinds of things, but they're never going to do it. They're never going to do it. And by the time they finally get it, they're going to go out of business. Nobody's going to want anything to do with them. The same thing's going to happen to Toyota. Then GM is going to be the first to go. Ford is going to be right behind them if they don't get it together. And Volkswagen in Germany is going to be right behind them. As big, the bigger they are, the harder they're going to fall. Watch.
Because their gross margins, depending on the company, are somewhere between 10 and 20%. Those are very low gross margins. And if you look at the Bloomberg estimates for this year, 2022, after a very weak 2021, you see growth estimates in the 10, 15, 20% range. The US-based ones are at the higher end of that. Well, that may not happen. And again, they don't have a lot of room for error. And we have seen them pivoting and announcing that they're pivoting ever more quickly towards electric. But
okay. And all of that is happy talk. They're making announcements. They're they're con artists. And they support the Confederate GOP on one side, but the union workers are supported by the Democratic Party. But the Confederate GOP, they support Mary Barra. They don't support the union workers. The GOP, they support and actually the GOP don't even support the automakers. They don't give a damn. They said, let them go out of business. They don't give a damn. See, they really don't care, okay, about anybody. The GOP are strictly, purely about white supremacy and getting all they can for white people, period. That's all they stand for. And that's not an agenda that the American people can get behind, but they don't care. That's why they want to get rid of this government. They never wanted the government to exist anyway. And if GM and all these original equipment manufacturers are pro-government, they'll want to get rid of them too. They'll throw everybody under the goddamn bus. They don't care how many people be eating out of garbage cans. The Confederate GOP white supremacists don't care about this country or this government or the American people. They just talk shit. They all talk. And you look at what they do, and look at George Bush. We had 4 years from him. He did absolutely nothing. This filthy thing, Trump was in there for 4 years. What did he do? Absolutely nothing. Joe Biden been in there less than a year. And already he got rid of the virus. He put some more money in our hands. He's been going around. He increased the job program. He's been doing everything to back up the medical industry to get rid of this damn virus, and doing everything in his power to promote electric vehicles, even though he's back in the wrong countries. He's back in the wrong companies. I mean, GM is pleased. They're talking crap, and they don't have a single electric vehicle out there that's worth two shits. Okay? They are going down. The sales are dropping through the floor.
Problem is, almost 100% of their base is going to go obsolete over time. So very, very interesting there. And the other December statistics that we got, besides autos, are the PMIs. The total PMI and PMI for services. Both of them came down, and prices paid in the Purchasing Managers Index came down a lot more than people were expecting. It was, I think the expectation was somewhere around high 70s, 80. This is a diffusion index. Instead, it was 62. Now, that still means prices are up because they're still above 50, that diffusion index, but coming down, we think, pretty fast. Now, one other thing I'd like to focus on here is China. so much is going on in China that, again, the headlines are getting some of this, but within 1 week.
Now, I'm going to put this in here, family. I want you all to listen very carefully what Kathy Woods is saying. And if America is so great, all right, who cares what China does? If China is not a great country, is not the greatest country, then why is it that whatever China is doing is impacting everything? Hell, America, their car sales are dropping through the floor. You don't hear anybody raising any hell, anything, anybody sound like they're upset? Because when you ain't great and you ain't shit, nobody gives a damn what happens in your country. You ain't shit. You don't make nothing. America barely make. Elon Musk is the only auto manufacturer really making any cars that anybody wants. America don't even make cars anymore. The Mach-E, the Ford electric car, that's made in Mexico. America is nothing great about America, family. Even the Democrats, they're happy talk. They want America to be great, but you can't be great. You don't have universal health care. You can't even elect a woman. You can't even control the goddamn Confederate filthy bastards. You got white kids going into school, shooting up the entire goddamn school. How can you be great with all of this shit going on, family? It's just a bunch of BS. It's happy talk, like the Bible talks happy, but nothing is really happening. It's all vaporware, smoke, mirrors, lies, and bullshit. Sorry, that's what it is.
A Bloomberg journalist, Sofia Horta Acosta, reported that all of this happened in Greater China this week. I'm going to just read you a few of these to give you a sense of the drama here. Evergrande suspends trading on the stock exchange. And the developer, Evergrande, was ordered, think about this, to demolish 39 illegal buildings because they didn't have the right permits. Can you imagine if that happened in the United States? The 100 largest developers in China reported that their contracted sales were down 35% in December. And for the year as a whole, they fell for the first time, Sophia says, in at least 5 years. I don't think I've ever seen them fall in the last 20 years. So real change. Hong Kong's instituted strict border controls, banning arrivals from US, UK, Australia. They're shutting down bars. They're shutting down evening dining. Let's see, a few of the other developers went bust. Shimao, which was rated investment grade in November, defaulted on a trust product and rocked the credit market. And the central bank withdrew liquidity. A lot of people thought they were going to increase liquidity because they said they would. A China regulator vowed stability after stock market's rocky start, but they have.
Okay, when you hear them talking about liquidity, adding liquidity, that means they're making loans available. They're making cash available. Cash is called liquid. And so they're making cash available for people to borrow. But once they feel like that they don't want to invest in the country because things are not going well, or there's too many restrictions and crazy things going on, they shut it down and they don't want to invest in a country that looks like it's going to collapse, or they're going to be losses. They're going to lose money by investing in a country that there's very unstable things are happening. And China has been shutting things down because they're flexing their muscle. They know they want to see how far they can go. What is going to be the impact on the world when we decide to shut down? And this is the beginning of China putting the world on notice. We're the big dogs and we know we're the big dogs. What you gonna do about it?
Haven't done anything about it yet. And very interestingly, the yuan, the RMB, the local currency, after a very strong year, held up. And I think it held up probably helped by the government, supported by the government. It is starting to weaken. quite a telltale sign. And one stock, Harong, which had been had not traded since last March, opened this week and dropped 50%. Now, when China catches a cold, commodities usually catch pneumonia. And we're seeing this in a few commodities, iron ore prices and so forth, but it isn't quite clear cut yet. And I was saying to our team this morning, how could this be happening and the economy not be falling apart and the consumer not getting restless there? Well, the consumer savings is 75% in real estate. But what I learned this morning, and it does make sense, one of our analysts, our newest genomics analyst, Pierce, worked in his lab as he was getting his PhD at Texas A&M with other Chinese students. In fact, he only worked with Chinese students. And he learned that a greeting in China, the equivalent of a hello, is basically, I hope you have enough to eat. And so pork prices and rice prices are critically important. And what do we see happening there? Pork prices are down, depending on the measure, 33 to 50%. Rice prices are fairly flat. And apparently that keeps the consumer happy. Now, I don't know. I think this property debacle is quite something. So we shall see.
Okay, family. So now this is important. When the consumer has plenty of food to eat, then they're not concerned about things that the government is doing that's going to be restricting things, that's going to slow down certain, in real estate, even though, like she says, 75% of their savings is in REITs, real estate investment instruments. They call them REITs. And these are funds. These are real estate investment funds. Okay, so when they're invested in stuff like that and they have plenty of food on the table, they don't care what happens with real estate and stuff. They got plenty of food. And when you see the price of pork going down, that means that the demand is low, or I should say the supply is high. That means there's plenty of pork, there's plenty of meat, there's plenty of food. And the Chinese are concerned about food more than anything else. From their past, they used to be starving. So now they still are in the habit of being concerned about food over real estate and what's happening in the economics of their country.
Before moving on, I'd like to just talk about the fourth quarter GDP. It will be strong. Now, not as strong as some people thought. It was going to be up 7%, and now I guess the Atlanta Fed said it'll be closer to 4.3%. What we're going to be watching is how much of that is in inventories, and I think quite a lot will be. Now on to market signals, and I realize I'm spending a.
Okay, family, I'm going to wrap this one up here. I don't want to have you spend any more time on this stuff. We're not going to go into any market signals or any of this kind of stuff. I don't want to tie you up with that. Okay, I'm going to stop sharing here. Okay, and I'm going to go ahead and wrap this up. Okay, and we're going to pretty much end this video. I hope it's been informative. I hope I've given you a lot of the meat on the bones for the different things that I've been wanting to give you over time. And I think I covered some very pivotal and critical stuff today. And I'm very happy that I was able to get that data in there for you about what's going on with this importance, the important difference between the macro being and the micro being, and all of these powers and authority that we have, and why the wasting of time with this Bible, lies and myths and all of that nonsense. And you see now the importance and the power that you are born with at birth. We're now going to take all of that data and all of that power and authority and the freedom of our minds now, not to be concerned about a fake heaven, hell, and all of this just absolute nonsense. And we're going to focus like a laser beam now on cleaning up our environment, living purposefully, step by step, dominating and controlling your instinctive intelligence of your human form, and enjoying your life more because you've gotten rid of the terror tactics of their Bible, the fear mongering and the lies and the distraction and the matrix of confusion that has been removed. The cobwebs have been removed from your mind, and now the anxiety is gone, and you are finally free, and you are empowered with the wisdom and knowledge that you need in order to take complete and total control over your life. And that's why I'm here. That's why I wrote my book. And I just want to make sure you understand that you don't have to be afraid and scared of any of this nonsense that these filthy Confederates and their filthy Bible has been pushing on you for the last 400, 500, 600 years. Okay, family, take care, be well, and I'll see you in the next movie. One love. Into form. Through form. Back into form. Through form. Out and back into form immediately. Through form. Out and back into form immediately. Through form. Out and back into the next form. Through form. Out and back into the next form. This is the cycle of existence for us as microcosmic beings. Never ending, infinitely, never dying, simply jumping from one form to the next form, infinitely and forever. The form will expire. We will immediately jump into the new form in a nanosecond, because we are eternal beings, just like Amma. Never ending, infinite, and unlimited power, trying to express ourselves through these human forms. So we'll go out and back into the next form. Go live through this form, come to a peak at the top, and then age out. The form will age out. Our microcosmic spirit will leave that form and jump back into the next form. Live through that form. Wear that form out. Leave that form and animate the next form. This is the cycle of existence for us, the microcosmic beings, the microcosmic expressions of the totality, the macrocosmic being we call Amma. Endlessly and forever. Jumping into form, living through these forms. The form wears out, cannot keep up with us, so we will jump from that form into the next form, endlessly and forever, living through these forms, not to be confused as being the forms. We simply jump from one form to the next form, live through that form. As the form ages out, we will simply transform into the next form, endlessly and forever. This is the cycle of our existence.